How's it going, everyone? Wayne the Known here, and welcome back to another episode of Cosplay Con Talk. We basically discuss everything pertaining to the cosplay community and conventions. This is take 2 now. Oh, great. All right. Well, I'll have to show a picture of myself now. So,
Immediately, it just started messing up.
yeah.
Too many people.
No, it's not that. It's not that. It's my webcam is acting up, so people not may not get to see my face for a while until I get a new webcam. So, I'm joined by Rihanna, Bob Greenwade, Console Cosplay, J Cos, Aero Senpai, Cat Valentine, Keyshawn, and Red Leaf Cosplay in a segment called 2022 Convention, not convention, Cosplay Recap. So I'm gonna go around and introduce everyone first. So starting with Rihanna, mind introducing yourself?
Hi, I'm Rihanna, also known as Miss Artistry. I am a Sacramento-based cosplayer, and I've been cosplaying for since 2015. And I also like to go to Pacific Northwest cons too, and stuff. So yeah, that's me.
Next up is Bob Greenwade, also known as One Eye Cosplayer. Mind introducing yourself, Bob?
You hit the player. You hit the player on that again.
Player.
One-eyed cosplay.
One-Eye Cosplay.
I'm based in Corvallis, Oregon. Been cosplaying since 2019, where I started at the tender young age of 58. I'm actually the oldest cosplayer in. At least in Wayne's circle, who has appeared on his show, aside from one who sadly has passed away now.
Yeah.
And I am hoping to hold on to the record long enough to get into the Guinness Book of World Records as the oldest cosplayer. If you want to know my philosophy of cosplay, you can check out the Humor and Cosplay panel that I hosted and is on this channel.
Next up is Console of Cosplay. Mind introducing yourself?
Hello, I am Console of Cosplay. I have been cosplaying since 2009. So I'm a grandparent in cosplay years. I am also Pacific Northwest based in the Portland metro area of Gresham, Oregon. Super interesting area, Pacific Northwest cons, but I do like to travel outside of the Pacific Northwest to a couple of other cons. But yeah, excited to be here as always.
Next up, you will be seeing his cosplay, get to know that cosplayer interview coming out this month is Jay Cos. Mind introduces yourself.
Yeah, hey, I'm Jay. So there's not really a lot to say here. I'm cosplaying for 11 years and I'm in Washington. I don't know much else to say.
How long have you been cosplaying for?
11 years.
Oh, nice.
2012. Well, so this will be year 11.
Fine.
There goes your camera.
We won't be seeing my face. I have to get a new webcam.
I don't think it's a big deal.
Damn you, Chica. Well, the show's more based on the voice than my face. So, next is Aero Senpai. Mind introducing yourself?
I'm Aero Senpai. I live in Washington. I live about an hour from Seattle, so I've been to so many conventions since 2009, and I've also worked at conventions, so I've seen the back behind the scenes as well. And I think my favorite thing about cosplay has to be the creativity you can do, because I started with like the trend of, oh, I'll just do popular characters. Now I'm going to do special effects. I'm going to make extravagant things. And for the past 12 years, it's just been going upwards from there.
Very nice. Next up is the F-bomb queen herself, Cat Valentine Cosplay.
Hello. Hi. It's good to be back. Oh, sorry, excuse me. Hi, I am Kat. Like my name implies, I am a cosplayer. I have been cosplaying since about 2012. And I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. It's just something I really enjoy doing. It's a big passion of mine. I dabble in a little bit of everything. But I would say that my strongest skills are definitely sewing and makeup. But you know, I'm trying to infinity gauntlet it and try to be at least halfway decent at everything. Um, yeah, it's something that I'm really passionate about. And you know, I try to cosplay a little bit of everything. Um, much like everyone here, I am Pacific Northwest based, specifically out of Washington. Um, I I try to go to cons all over. I have done stuff in Washington and Oregon. I've gone to Canada. I will be going to cons all over the state this year. Um, yeah, I guess my philosophy for approaching cosplay is you know, have fun and do what makes you happy. You know, vibe in a wig and make some cool stuff. Uh, yeah.
Nice. And knock on wood,
Fudge.
I think. Like I tell everyone.
Ewing, I didn't say the F word this
Well, as I
time.
always tell people, this is a PG-13. This is a PG-13 series. I do just
Is it
like in PG,
though?
just like in PG-13 films. Well, for Cosplay Contact specifically, I do allow one F word. You can't say the standard PG-13 curse words you hear. Moving on, you've seen him for the very first episode of Was It Well, actually the unofficial second episode of Was It Worth Making, and you've also seen him as for their cosplayer interview. I'm joined here by Keyshawn. Mind introducing yourself?
Hello, everyone. I'm a third-time listener and third-time caller. Technically fourth, because technical difficulties.
We're gonna talk about that.
But yeah, my name's Keyshawn, and if you can't pronounce it, that's fine, because the spelling is more tricky than it looks. But I also go by Mocha, because that's usually my game tag. So yeah, I'm a gamer, and I recently got into cosplay back in 2012. And ever since I've been wanting to do cosplays, I just never had the time or the budget to do it. So, but hey,
It do be like that. So, okay, I'm gonna say mine, motherfucker. Ah,
Hey, wait,
Hey,
it's my line.
hey, well,
The
I
hell,
had to
man?
I had to get my one F word out of there. I'm gonna
Okay, that's fine.
damn you, Nanshiba. All right,
But you
and
said it twice.
yeah, and last but not least is a new face to Cosplay Contact, and eventually they will be having their own solo. Get to know that cosplay review. We are joined here by Red Leaf Cosplay.
Hi, thank you so much for having me this evening. So I'm a Portland-based cosplayer and I frequent a lot of Pacific Northwest conventions. I'm best known for my competitive nature. 2022 is a particularly good season for me. I'm known for both craftsmanship and performance-based competition, and my cosplay philosophy is to promote enrichment, empowerment, and personal growth through the art of cosplay.
Nice. And real quick, how long have you been cosplaying for?
18 years.
Oh, so you're in the category, as I put it, a cosplay veteran. Very nice.
Or cosplay grandparent, I think I heard it referred as.
Yep. So basically everyone is gonna be sharing their 2022 cosplays that they did or almost did, and then also later in the show, they're gonna be talking about their upcoming cosplays for the 2023. So since Red Leaf is new to here, what were your 2022 cosplays that you did for last year?
So 2022 was a really busy year for me. I kicked it off by challenging myself with a purely secondhand thrifted or upcycled cosplay, and that was Cottagecore Jolteon, the design by Sunset Dragon, which later on in the year actually took Best Masters at Chibi Chibi Con, which is an event ran by the Evergreen
Yeah.
College, which I think Kat was a judge at.
I was. We all backstage were like, yes,
Yeah,
she's the one.
it was completely made of thrifted, upcycled, recycled materials. Nothing that went into that cosplay was a new material, just because I know cosplay can be a really, like, materials go to waste, lots of fabric cuts go to waste, and there's not really a good way to upcycle materials that don't end up in your cosplay. So that was a really big project for me. And then following that, I went to SakuraCon, which was the first time that it had happened since the pandemic struck. And I took 7 cosplays to SakuraCon. Most of them were for Cosplay Chess, which is an event that I have loyally participated in for the last 10 years. If you've never been to it, it's a huge main event. It's an excellent time to watch people perform and battle it out in their cosplays. And I also competed in the cosplay contest as King from Seven Deadly Sins.
Yes.
I'm mostly known for doing solo skits, and that was one that actually got Best Drama Award. So I was really, really proud that that all came together. And as we moved into the rest of the year, I was focusing on finishing a really, really important project to me, which is my original character from the Fallout universe, specifically from Fallout 4. It's an original character named Esther Eden that comes from Vault number 95, where everybody that resides in the vault struggles with addiction to chems or alcohol. So my character looks crazy, and all of my pockets are filled with chems of all different varieties. And that was a really long project that lots of years of work, and I ended up winning Best Intermediate at Rose City Comic Con, which was a huge achievement for me because that propelled me into the Masters category, which is where I will be competing in 2023. And then last major event for the year was KomoriCon, where I got to run my panel, which is Empowerment Through Cosplay, which basically encourages people to get more out of the cosplay experience by challenging themselves and valuing the skills that they're learning along the way of cosplay production. And if they're not making their own cosplay, to enjoy the experience of becoming another character and realizing what they're capable of by being a new character. And I also competed at Kumo, and again took Best Drama with my Final Fantasy Tactics Mind cosplay, which, as some have deemed, unofficially crowns me as the Queen of Drama of the Pacific Northwest. So that was a really,
Very
really
nice.
great way to end the year. I went 4 for 4 in competition, and I can't wait to see what 2023 brings.
Looking forward to seeing what cosplays you'll be doing for the 2023 year. Next up, you'll be seeing his interview in February of this month. Jay, what were your 2022 cosplays?
Okay, so I did 10 throughout the year. So, well, give or take. Some were repeated. So I started at SoccerCon this year. So this year was or well, last year, I guess, whatever. 2022 was my 10-year anniversary for SoccerCon.
Congratulations.
As well as my 10-year first convention. But it was also, I think I talked about this in our interview thing, but it was also the first cosplay I ever did, like as an actual put it together and make a cosplay. And it was Advent Children Cloud. So
I remember showing
Yeah.
me showing me pictures and how lifelike you made his sword.
Yeah, exactly. And I was telling you how it came broken and everything, and I had to remake and whatever, all that. So that year I wanted to do that as like a special thing. So I did. And then but that was on Saturday. On Friday I did Reinhard from ReZero, because his voice actor was there, and I got to go hang out with his voice actor and stuff like that. And then throughout the weekend, like I usually do at the evenings or on Sunday, I bring Red from Pokemon, from the original Pokemon.
Nice.
So that was all SoccerCon, and then I went to SummerCon down in Puyallup, and I only did. There was only 2 days, and we I did Rimuru from That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, and took it off almost immediately. And then the next day I went as Sora from Kingdom Hearts 3, and then oh no, they did have 3 days. The third day I went as Red again.
Nice.
And then not long after that, like a month later, we went to PAX. And the first day I didn't cosplay, and then I did Sora again, and then I did an Apocalypse Mario. And yeah,
Nice.
and that one I never planned on ever doing anywhere. It was like a Halloween thing, and I just like, nah, it works and it's easy. And then I went to KomoriCon and did the remake version of Cloud from Final Fantasy VII. the newer game
Which I
version.
gotta say, seeing your materia props in his sword was like the pictures
Yeah.
was, like, the coolest. I highly recommend anyone who's on here or watches this. I highly recommend also looking at Jay's YouTube channel where he basically shows off his props and cosplays, really,
Yeah,
and his
I
vlogs.
do like tutorials and stuff. And I've made that sword as one of the tutorials, as well as his shoulder armor. Um, uh, and where was I? Oh yeah, so we just got a whole bunch of photos back from a photo shoot we did. We got them yesterday.
Nice.
And then on Saturday, I haven't done it in a long time, but I actually crossplay. So I did Yunjin from Genshin Impact. And your video's all messing up again.
Ah, fine.
Because
All
of
right.
course it is.
I'll
So
just
thought
have
I'd
to
let
show
you
a
know
picture of
that you were
myself.
looking down.
I'll just show a picture. I'll just show a
Yeah,
picture of
it's
my
just easier
face.
that way.
Yeah.
But after that, throughout the weekend as well, just like I did with Soccer Con, where I do something like at night or whatever, and then on Sunday, I was an imposter from Among Us, and I even did a whole video. I did a whole video where I was like stabbing people and they were falling over, and it was amazing. And
Nice.
technically, that's all the conventions I went to this 2022. But we also did an event at the mall that I work at. There's a place that gets like guests and all that kind of stuff, and they put on events, and they had an event called Winter Wonderland. It was like a small mall convention, so I guess that counts. And I cosplayed Ash from Pokemon.
Nice. You got a lot. You did a lot of cosplays.
Yeah.
Nice. Next up, they haven't been on this channel in a long time. Keyshawn, what were the cosplays you were wanting to do for 2022? Because it told me you had a lot of cosplays you weren't able to do.
Yeah, so last year, the two cosplays that I had mainly in mind was my primary was I wanted to dress up as Daryl Dixon from the Walking Dead series. And basically his attire was I can't remember. I think it was like season 5 where it was all like snowy and he has like a black and white poncho on. And I ordered one and I was lucky that I was able to find one that had the exact same colors. And you guys can hear me, right?
Yep,
Just double
Yeah.
checking.
we can hear you just fine.
But yeah, I was fortunate that I stumbled upon a website that was actually selling a poncho that looked exactly like it. I mean, of course the wear and tear isn't there, but I mean it's whatever. But yeah, I got lucky that I found the poncho. And my second cosplay was I wanted to like dress up as like a Mandalorian from Star Wars, like not necessarily like the Mandalorian from the series or like Boba Fett, but like kind of more like an OC, an original character Mandalorian. And what I wanted to do was double my poncho into that cosplay too. Because usually when you see the Mandalorians, they'll have like a cape or like a shoulder,
Yeah.
like cloth. But it's like, well, what about a Mandalorian that wears a poncho like over his armor, and also his armor is like Beskar steel, but is like charred so that you can't tell that it is like actual Beskar.
Nice. Those would have been cool to see, but I know it's never easy when you have the cosplays planned out, but then it's like something comes up and you're not able to do it.
Which in my case is just having lack of funds and lack of prep time.
Yeah, that do be like that sometime. Were those the only two that you were wanting to do for this year?
The two that I know by far that I most wanted to do, and the year before that, I think it was still on the brain of doing like a Star Wars theme cosplay because I wanted to do either Boba Fett from The Mandalorian when he was wearing like the black robes and stuff before he got his armor back,
Nice.
as well as maybe wanting to do like the Tusken Raiders.
Ooh, very nice.
Because either way, either one I choose, I get to play around with the gaffy stick.
That's always fun. Next up, like I said, they're returning guests on here. Console. What were your 2022 cosplays? Because I know you did quite a bit as well, especially with it being the year of the JoJo.
Yes, it was Year of the JoJo, for me specifically. So towards the beginning of the year, I rewore because I was in the middle of moving. Because I used to live in Washington and now live in Oregon. So a lot of the start of the year was a lot of rewearing things from 2021. Things like I did Uzi from Demon Slayer, Corazon from One Piece, Skyjack from Shugachara. That was kind of like my beginning year cons, like ALA, Chibi Chibi Con, things like that. But then the year of JoJo happened and hyperfixation kicked in and I just went off. I did it's bad. Uh yeah, I did Rikiel from part 6, Jolene from part 6, Misa from part 5, Fugo from part 5. See, and my toxic trait is never taking photos of my cosplay. So I've made like so many costumes and I think I only posted about 10 photos in 2022. And that's like a strong maybe of costumes that I did. But I did Risotto from part 5, Seko from part 5. I made my Jonathan costume. Do I have photos? Absolutely not. Yeah, it's pretty bad. But yeah, it was the year of the JoJos this year, so I did a ton of those. Oh, Gyro, Zappelli from part 7, Johnny from part 7. I've also made a few costumes for other people as well. But yeah, oh, I did Senku from Dr. Stone. That one was super fun. I kind of had this goal in 2022 of busting all of my scraps out of the way. So of like fabrics and materials that I have been hoarding for many, many, many years for like other projects and things like that. So I did Tsubaki from Soul Eater. That was completely made out of fabrics.
I
from
saw
my
that,
cord.
and I don't think I've ever seen a Tsubaki from Soul Eater ever.
Oh yeah, she was actually super fun. But her costume was entirely made from like my obscenely large hoard of fabric. Jolene was completely made out of my fabric hoard. Fugo was completely made out of my fabric hoard. Rikiel was completely made out of my fabric hoard. So I've been trying to get rid of my obscenely large Joanne's fabric hoard that I have in my house. So that was kind of a nice thing. And JoJo's has a lot of fun patterns and interesting character design. So it was really nice to get rid of a lot of my weirder looking fabrics. Rosota was also one of those fabric hoard busting projects too. Yeah, I'm trying to remember all the ones that I made Wisely from the Gray Man. Don't have any photos of him either. Yeah, but this year was definitely, or I guess last year was definitely Year of the JoJos for me. So
Nice.
yeah. That's all the ones that I can think of off the top of my head, but I'm sure there are many more that I have not photographed.
I believe it. Next up is Iro Senpai. What were your 2022 cosplays?
I actually write this down every year. My season really didn't start until April of this year because I didn't have a lot of cons and COVID was still pretty big at work and we weren't getting hazard pay. So it was like, whatever, let's just go from there. But I traveled to California for BabsCon in Burlingame, San Francisco area, and where I wore my cozy glow with the wings finally, and I was Sunny Star Scout. Like I actually took the time to make another character. I went to SummerCon and I got to meet Alice and Tabitha, and I was Grogu in Android 21, which is my first foray back in the body painting since 2018.
Nice.
And with Grogu, I got to see Alice and Tabitha for the second day of the con, and I believe Bob was there too. I don't know if you saw me or not, but it was so much fun, and
I
I
think
got
I
a lot
saw
of
Bob. I think I
photos.
saw Bob give a thumbs up thing that I think he saw you.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, he did. He saw you.
Yeah, it's like my Grogu is like it's adorable and comfortable, and Allison Tabitha was like, "Let's take a photo together," and I'm like, "Oh my god!"
Oh,
So
Allison
that was
with the
fun.
cosplay?
Yeah,
Oh, nice. I've never seen pictures of that. Yeah, she's a really well-known cosplayer. She definitely does a lot of as I call it, chameleon cosplays.
oh yeah, like she is the nicest cosplayer I've ever met. That's like a considered a famous one. Like right after the cosplay contest, there was the what was it a panel with her, and I'm like, I told my husband I want to see this. Is that okay? He's like, yeah, that's fine. So all her advice is actually really good. Like she came from somewhere that you wouldn't expect it, and then now look what she does. But she's still so humble that she's like, hey, I'm gonna take care of all the cosplayers.
Nice.
I went to Emerald City because I also had a job working with Geek Girl Con. So that was my big accomplishment this year. I don't do skits, I don't do contests. I work in conventions now, and I was their coordinator for the cosplay contest. So I went to their table and I had a hyper fascination with Stranger Things. So I was Eddie Munson for the almost the whole rest of the year.
Nice.
So I was, and then the next day I went to the con. I was dressed up as the Weeping Doctor, which is a combination of the 13th Doctor with the Weeping Angels from the latest series of Doctor Who. So I did special effects makeup on myself, had a like gray wing and everything.
Nice.
And a lot of people were like, "Oh my god, you look amazing!" And it was everyone was like so amazed that I did that. I'm like, it only took me like an hour to do that at home, and then I leaped to Seattle and it stayed.
Very nice. Were those all the cosplays you did?
Yeah, for the most part, like by the time the end of the year hit, I was just like, I'm just gonna be Eddie for everything, including the My Little Pony convention that I forgot I had a panel for. So luckily, I just did that like off the seat of my pants, and they want me to come back, and I'm like, okay, cool, but I'm probably not gonna go back if I have to do so much this year, you know?
Oh, I totally understand and get that. Next is Bob. What were your 2022 cosplays that you did?
Oh, well, let's see. I had, I think, 5 conventions. The first one being the C3 GameCon here in Corvallis, which is 2 days. For that one, day one, I did my Shadow cosplay. And then day 2 was the day of the costume contest, and I wore Redneck Bunny Fufu.
Wait, what were the first two that you did again? Sorry,
The first one, the Shadow, was day 1 of C3 GameCon, and then day 2 was Redneck Bunny Fufu, which about 20 minutes before judging, the zipper on one of my feet broke.
Oh no.
And I was sitting there trying to put it together, and the reporter from the local paper came and got me on tape, and you have me complaining about it on video if you can find it on the Gazette Times site. But I finally managed to get it fixed 20 minutes after the prejudging. So they fortunately the judges didn't notice. It didn't really matter. I wasn't trying for a prize anyway. I just wanted to parade around and get some laughs and some enjoyment. And there was one guy at one of the vendor tables who wanted to get a picture of me bopping him on the head.
I love it.
Let's see. Next one, I went to Norwestcon, and that one I debuted. Day 1 was the 6th Doctor. I debuted that. Second day, I debuted Harpo Marx.
Ooh, classic.
Day 3, I debuted Jedi Elvis. And day 4, I went ahead and did my fallback of the Invisible Man.
Nice.
Yes, though I had a fun incident with 2 of them. I was in the Sixth Doctor, came around a corner. There was this guy there with a remote control life-size Dalek.
Oh, nice.
And the Dalek just cut me completely by surprise, coming up to me, going, "It is a doctor. The doctor must be exterminated. Exterminate! Exterminate!" And so, in a rare moment of quick thinking, I said what I've always wanted to say to a Dalek, in my best Colin Baker voice: "You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means." He was not going to be outdone. He came back with, "Inconceivable."
I love it. Oh, that's cool. They got to meet a life-size Dalek.
And then then when I was Elvis, there's a group of young ladies that I think they were dressed up kind of as I think Sleeping Beauty and the three fairy ladies, fairy aunts, whatever,
nice
from the movie. And they apparently are like regulars at the various local cons in those costumes. But the youngest one, while I was walking by trying to get on my way to a panel, the youngest one says, "We really like your cosplay." So I just said, "Thank you very much." And they broke up laughing. And I loved it. They were really cool ladies.
Nice.
The next one up was SummerCon. And I was just up a little bit looking in my closet, trying to remember what all three of my cosplays were, because I only remember two of them right now. I think I may have done the Invisible Man for one of the days, but the other two were my I did Jedi Elvis again, and this time a guy got me on video. Is where I met Jay Cos. And this is the first time I've met a cosplayer in person and then on this channel.
Nice.
As opposed to Iro Senpai, who went the other way around, and a couple of others.
Nice.
And then the other day, that I think was Sunday, and the other day I was Darkwing Duck.
That's pretty cool.
Did my Darkwing Duck cosplay, and I managed to get photographs in there of them. Triple Click cosplay was at all three of my remaining three.
Yeah, he's been mentioned a lot recently on this channel.
Oh, I do recommend them. I'm going to bring that. I'm going to bring them up again when you talk later about what we're doing next year, because I'm breaking out some old ones to get better pictures. But I got that. I got to chat for a little bit with Jim Cummings.
Ooh.
And I did my Darkwing Duck impression. I said, "I am the terror that walks in the night." He said it was pretty good. Also got to chat for quite a bit with Bill Farmer, and got him to say in front of the audience something that he'd done on Rob Paulson's Talking Tunes.
Nice.
When Rob likes to finish his thing with having himself and the guest read a scene from a movie using the cartoon voices.
I've seen those a lot.
Yeah, so what I got Bill to do was, "I'll make him an offer he can't refuse." The voice of Goofy.
Nice.
And I got to chat for a bit, and we chat with Bill for a bit, and we kind of were trading back and forth, or Julie Carson impressions, and Jack Benny as well, and various other old time stars.
Nice. So were those all the cosplays you did for that year?
That was no. I had two more conventions. The next one was Emerald City. Emerald City. Oh, this was an interesting experience with this one, because the train going north was running late, and it was already scheduled to get in about 11, but I ended up going 2 hours late. I did not end up going into bed until 2:30, and I naturally wake up about 5:20. So there I was with like 3 hours of sleep. I was dressed as Zoot from the Muppets. The sax player.
Yeah, okay. I remember.
And so I wasn't just dressed as Zoot. I was Zoot. the whole day. I'm talking like this even.
And
And that'll do that to you. So I had, I also brought back the shadow and did a change of clothes for that to go Men in Black. I had Darkwing Duck. I had Jedi Elvis. I had the Invisible Man, and I debuted the Evil Midnight Bomber. What bombs at midnight?
Nice.
And that one I got to talk to Maurice LaMarche, who did the voice for the bomber. And I just happened to notice I was getting ready to wait in line for Rob Paulson, and saw that nobody was in Maurice's line, and so I went over and went through the line, through that empty column, in character as the bomber. And he liked it so much, he asked me to do it again so he could send it to Rob.
Nice.
And talked, did the voice and so snake ponies. I make it gravy without the lumps. And then I did that one for the cosplay march on Saturday evening. I think that was the cosplay. The actual formal contest was Friday. So, and I had written on the form that I'd like to lean into cosplays where I can do the voice. And so I'll go ahead and went ahead, turn the microphone to me. He could only introduce me as the Evil Midnight Bomber, so I got to give the correction. Sorry, not snake ponies. I don't get gravy without the lumps because I'm the Evil Midnight Bomber. What bomb that midnight, baby? Then over to the judges. Then I went over to the judges table, and you're supposed to stand there for a few seconds. So I said, "I'm just a part-time electrician. I have no idea what you're talking about." And one of the judges just busted up laughing with that, and in between those two, while I was on my way out of the building where they had the celebrities, just as I was about to reach the doors, a young lady stopped me, told me this is her favorite character. He hardly gets any love. There's not even any action figures. She wanted a picture with me, and I just had made her day. Making somebody's day makes my day. And so that was just the most awesome. That was just the highlight of that convention.
Nice.
And then finally I went to Rose City. I think that was all just repeats there. Is the I did Darkwing Duck, Jedi Elvis, Sixth Doctor, and the Evil Midnight Bomber again.
Nice. Oh, I can't wait to see. Well, later, so I said later when we talk about the cosplays that you'll be doing, I can't wait to see. And sounds like you had a really good time. Next on is the F-bomb queen herself, Kat. What were your 2022 cosplays?
Can I share a secret with you guys? I'm
Sure.
scrolling through my Instagram right now because I don't fucking remember what I did.
That's Kat's one and only F-bomb. The rest will be bleeped in post.
Literally same though. I was scrolling after I already went, and I was like,
Hey,
oh, I felt like 7.
Yeah, you can.
I love how our toxic traits are like also the same, where we make things, but then we never get pictures of them. It's like, oh yeah, I made that cosplay. Oh, can I see a picture? No, none exist. I'd love to show
Literally, it's
you,
so
but
bad.
That literally sounds like my whole art history.
literally, oh my god. I swear it's real, but I just don't have proof.
It's why I love Triple Click.
Yeah.
Or people who post on Instagram and you find it and like, hey, yeah. Or like if you have a friend that takes pictures.
This
Literally.
is why my husband does my photos.
Yeah, no, I try to book professional shoots when I can, because I don't like relying on whole photos just because I never know if I'm gonna get any or not. And if you do, like, it just kind of goes into the void because you never know if you'll see that photo ever again. But that's just me. I don't remember if I did any actual professional shoots this year. I think it was a lot of home photo shoots. and I definitely leveled up my skills for that. And so I'm very proud of myself on that. So little victory lap for that. So much like how Console had the year of the JoJo, this was the year of Lore Olympus for me. So let's see here. I'm scrolling through right now. So we started off strong this year. We started off with Persephone, who is the protag of Lore Olympus. And we did several different versions of her. Let's see, we did like a nice, cozy, comfy little version. We oh my god, we'd be sitting here forever if we talked about every single version I did of her. I've done her long hair, I've done her short hair. I did like a cute little fur shawl. I eventually want to make her fur coat. I also did Daphne from Lore Olympus. I did like a little like lingerie shoot. I did a really fun like, gosh, I don't know if I could call it worldwide, but it was kind of like a fun online collaboration.
That counts.
Okay, yeah, sure, we'll call it that. With a bunch of cosplay buddies from all over. And so we did like this Lore Olympus like pajama party, and so we all took photos of ourselves as like the characters in pajamas, and we all photoshopped ourselves together to make it look like they were having a slumber party. It's super cute. Oh my gosh. And so I was Daphne for that, and that was super fun. And I love how that turned out. And that was a really, really fun project. Lots and lots of Persephone. I had intended to make a lot more that year. And I started on several projects, but I definitely was dealing with like a lot of medical issues that got in the way of said projects. So a lot of things kind of got put on the back burner, which I'm picking up this year. So I'm excited to work on those. I ended up making Sailor Venus, specifically from the art books, her little fruit made cafe.
I see
outfit.
Red Leaf
Yeah,
is seeming excited.
yeah. And I wore that when I was a judge for Chibi Chibi Con, and that was super fun because it was just like the most
Was that the
unintentional.
Sailor Maid Venus you did?
Yeah, it was the most intentional group. Like, it was so funny. Like, all of the judges, we kind of all kind of had one brain cell, and we all like separately planned these. And then we were kind of all watching each other's Instagram stories, and we're like, oh, hey, you're making that? Oh, cool, that's awesome. Oh, wow. Oh, you're also making that? Hey, do you guys just want to do a group? Yeah, let's just do a group. And so it just became this beautiful, unintentional group. And then everyone kind of like got in on it. So then we had like coordinators being like, hey, I want to jump in. So it just became like this big group, and it was great. And I love it.
Nice.
So that was super fun. And I absolutely loved doing that. And I definitely want to do that again because that was super duper fun. And I definitely want to add like some upgrades to that cosplay and make like a little tray and stuff like that. Gosh, what else did I do this year? It was really fun.
I know you did your Poison Ivy lingerie one.
I did, yeah. So that it's funny. It started out as like a little cause test. I initially wasn't gonna do her this year. That was saved for next year, technically this year. But I ended up signing up for the lingerie show, and I was like, oh hey, well I have like these pieces. What if I threw this together and did like a little like Poison Ivy lingerie look? Okay, this will be like a fun way to like test out the makeup and get the wig done. Okay, let's just do this. And so that was like a super fun little thing to do. And like a fun little confidence boost because like I don't know, as someone who struggles a lot with self-esteem, that was really fun. Yeah, so that's a little cosplay I have this year, and that was super fun to do. Yeah, so that was a project that I did this year. It was really quick and fun and easy. And I definitely would like to do her again. I'm planning on doing her full like super outfit this year. I want to do her botanist outfit as well, like her nice little sciencey botanist look. That'll be fun. Um, gosh, I did do one other. I did Gerard Way's Welcome to the Black Parade outfit.
I saw that
Yeah.
on your Facebook, on your Instagram.
Yeah, that was super fun. It was for my friend's birthday. We went to this thing called Emo Night, which is essentially just this really big dance party. And it's low-key group therapy for all the kids who grew up listening to emo music. It's really fun. And we went there and I met this guy who was like a roadie for MCR for a little while. And he's like, yeah, no, you like low key actually look like Gerard. And I'm like, oh my God, that means so much to me. Thank you.
Nice.
Yeah, so we had a really good time. And it was a really fun evening. And I did get pulled up on stage for the Black Parade when that song came on. So that was super fun, like getting to dance for that
Nice.
in the outfit.
Nice.
Yeah, gosh, I think that's everything I did. It was a lot of Lore Olympus and a lot of different looks and outfits from Lore Olympus that were mostly Persephone and Daphne. You know, with a little sprinkling of other things.
Nice.
Yeah,
Very nice.
I had a good time.
I can't wait to see what you do for the 2023 or when we get to that portion. And last but
Thank
not
you.
least, Rihanna, what were your 2022 cosplays?
Okay, so everybody's like saying this is the year of the JoJo, the year of the Lore Olympus. This is for me the year of Sailor Moon. So basically,
Yeah.
so basically my goal was to like cosplay all the Sailor Scouts, obviously, like that's a goal. And so first I cosplayed my favorite Sailor Scout is Sailor Pluto. I have her tattooed on my thigh. And I have the scepter and all, and everybody was like, oh my God, you have the scepter. Like usually Sailor Plutos don't have the scepter because like the scepter is really hard to make, like the garnet rod. And I also cosplayed as Sailor Mars with a group cosplay of the Inner Scouts. I also did Sailor Venus and Sailor Moon of this year. Like I actually did Sailor Moon this year. And I upgraded my Junko because Junko is near and dear in my heart because she just is a really good character and villain. And I upgraded her wig, so like instead of like one ponytail, there's two ponytails on each side, so like it's like bigger the hair the closer you are to God. But she's like opposite. So she's the opposite, so she's like I'm like Satan's spawn anyway. So like I upgraded Junko. Like I also did like a cost test of Hecate from Lore Olympus.
Yeah.
I did a cost test of her, but I didn't really like bring her to a con. But like I was like trying to dabble and see if my makeup skills improved in any way, and I really surprised myself. So yeah, so like I was a former Homestuck, but like I wasn't good at the body makeup.
I've heard so many stories about Homestuck cosplayers.
But I wasn't that kind of a
You
Homestuck.
didn't
You weren't a
do
Sharpie bath Homestuck, were you?
No,
You beat me to it, Cat. Damn it.
I was not. Okay. But like I want to, but like one of my goals is to actually upgrade my Dolorosa cosplay. But she's a work in progress right now. And what else did I do? I did Yor from Spy Family, and
Nice.
I got engaged at the Summer Sack Anime.
Congratulations again.
Yeah.
Yay!
I'm a little bit biased with Sack Anime right now. And like so with like Yor is like really near and dear to my heart right now because like I just got engaged in her. And so I also like I've like dabbled here and there like in other stuff, but like right now I'm like really focusing on like my wig that I made. Like I just made the wig and everything, and it was from Tulip from Pokemon Generation 9. She's the psychic gym leader. And so I made her earrings and I made her wig, and now I just have to make the dress and everything else. But like she's coming along great, and I'm just like, yes.
Those shoes are still going to be a nightmare. I've seen her shoes.
Oh, I have a way where I have an idea on how to make her shoes, but yeah, they're gonna be hard to walk in. And what else did I did a lot, like I did a lot of cost tests, but I can't really like think of it right now. But I also did Willow from Owl House.
Ooh.
Yeah, she's
Willow
one of
is the best.
somebody posted it online saying like, who is your favorite witch and why is it Willow? I'm just like, dang, thanks for calling me out. But yeah, I was Willow, and we had a Owl House group. Yeah, so like I'm I'm just really, oh, and I did my my hero OC. She's a magnet user and everything, and her name is Iman, and Iman means magnet in Spanish. So I just thought it was funny. So like I did that OC character with my fiance as Todoroki. So like
Nice.
they're the pair. And so that's what we did. That's what I mainly did for 2022. I did a lot of cosplays.
Nice. So I gotta ask, Kate, what cosplay are you working on in the background there? I saw the cosplay mannequin with the hoop skeleton.
That is for 2023 right now, actually.
Mind giving us a little sneak peek on who it's gonna be?
Do you want me to talk about 2023 stuff?
We'll get to that later.
Okay. Yeah,
Well,
that's for my
I-
next major comp piece at Sakura Con.
Nice. So I'm going to be talking about probably one of my favorite questions, and if anyone's seen Get Into That Cosplayer, I got two favorite questions I always like to ask. First up, and we'll start with console. Any cosplay mishaps for this year, for last year?
Oh, cosplay mishaps for last year. Shockingly, not as many as I normally have, because I usually have a lot of cosplay mishaps. And I think it's because the universe has decided to give me a break, because I had a very
Knock on wood.
difficult move from Washington to Oregon. So all of my bad luck was just funneled into me moving. So I think as far as like the cosplay gods, they have spared me. They have spared me
Also,
in
as somebody that lives in
2022.
Washington, moving away from Washington is actually a good thing. Just saying.
I mean, it was kind of like I kind of had to. I didn't really have much of a choice, but yeah, just in general, it was kind of a really bad move overall. Like very stressful, lots of issues that happened in the move. So yeah, I think I was spared by the bad luck cosplay gods in 2022. Nothing went too horribly wrong. Off the top of my head that I can think of, mostly just a lot of stress from traveling because I travel to a lot of cons. Lots of coming back from Florida last year was kind of stressful because like flights got canceled and things like that. So I was like, oh no. But aside from that, everything went fairly smoothly from what I remember. I also have a terrible memory, so there's that too.
As I always say, and I know Bob is gonna just say it, there is nothing wrong with that. Take a shot every time I hear me say that in one of these series.
Water,
I'm
guys.
surprised this is the first time you've said it in this episode.
Oh no,
There-
I was trying so hard not to say it, but like, damn it.
During the
It's
Hearing
okay, you held
podcast, I
out for
wish we
so
had a
long.
counter in the corner to say
Oh
the
no,
far,
I'm
three
I'm
times.
gonna like if I can go back and look at all the videos where I said that, I could make an entire compilation video of that. I'll probably do one for 2020. There is nothing wrong with that compilation 2022 video, just for the hell of it.
You can make a drinking game out of it.
Oh
No.
I feel
no.
like I feel like you should just have a cosplay con talk of just horror stories in general because I could rattle them
Okay,
off.
so that
Maybe
yes,
that could be a Halloween special or
so yes,
something.
that will be a October. That will be an episode for October. That's actually something I've been wanting to do for a while.
Bring me on because
Well,
I
that
have
will be
so many.
that will be safe. That will be safe for in October. Jay, any cosplay mishaps you've had this year?
No, actually none. Weirdly
Really?
enough.
Knock on wood. It's still. It's.
I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna try and jinx myself, but yeah, none. So I don't know. Can't really partake in this part, I guess.
Hey.
I mean, that's a good thing technically.
Oh yeah,
So.
no. And I always say, never feel embarrassed if you have a cosplay misstep. Even your most well-known cosplayers have had cosplay mishaps.
Oh no, I'm just talking about last year.
Oh,
It
no.
happens all the time. Other than that,
Oh, okay, that's good.
yeah, yeah. No, I've had my fair share, but just not last year. So I can't complain, I guess.
Iro, any cosplay mishaps this year?
It's kind of a cosplay mishap because right before Everfree, normally my hair, I dye it every year. So I was doing the whole black and red, and I love all that color combination. I'm allergic to certain hair dyes.
Oh,
Oh no.
So,
that's not good.
so all I can say is do not use like the 2-in-1 conditioner, shampoo, or 3-in-1 punky colors because apparently that is what I'm allergic to. And I cut off like I cut off most of my hair a little bit after that, except for the middle. So now that's like really long. But I went to Everfree right afterwards.
Oh no.
So I'm like, okay, let's just go to Everfree, take care of it. Like this was the day after the hospital, and I'm fine. So I go to Everfree. And
I don't care if
Everfree
I'm
was
eternally bleeding. I'm going to this con. You can't stop me.
exactly.
Oh,
And
fight you all
and
before I go.
and Everfree was a cluster this year. So I'm like, oh boy. So I probably won't be going back to it because I'm like, unless you want me back for a panel, I'm not going back, period, because you don't treat your actors correctly. So, oops.
Yeah, that's that's the thing with certain conventions, you got to treat your staff and the con goers with respect, and especially your actors. At least you didn't have any. I mean, yeah, no, having an allergic reaction is never fun in general.
Oh yeah, like when I went to the hospital, they're like, "Is that blood?" And I'm like, "No, I dyed my hair red."
No, you should have said,
Oh,
you
no.
should have stuck with her. Yeah, yeah, it's blood. I got in a fight with someone and I won. This isn't my blood, it's their blood.
It's the blood of these.
Oh god.
It's like, no, doctor, the red splotches in my hair, that's just hair dye. Although the red splotches on my lip, though, that's a different story.
Or to quote one of my cheesy horror movie, it's grenadine for my ice cream treats.
Oh god, I love that movie. But yeah, that was my biggest cosplay mishap. Luckily, I didn't have any more after that, and been just trying to hang on and work on my projects throughout the year, you know?
Nice. Kat, any cosplay mishaps?
Oh my gosh, where do I begin? I feel like this was the year of cosplay mishaps. Um,
Now this is a story all about how.
Literally.
gotta have
literally.
gotta
Oh
have
my
humor.
God.
I had a chip punch a child inside the mouth.
Oh,
Literally.
boy.
Oh my gosh. So like
Oh,
I think
sorry.
my big cosplay for this year, I don't know why. You'll have to forgive me. So some context, I'm recovering from a surgery right now, and some of the meds I'm on make me a little loopy. And so I have some brain fog right now. And so like one of my big cosplays this year, was Hannah Alexander's version of Persephone from Lore Olympus.
Would that be the white dress one?
Yeah, the
Can I-
white
can-
dress
can I-
with
can I
like
show-
the
can I,
big like
can I
cascading
show
flower
can I
panels and the
show a
halo crown.
Can I show a picture real quick before my webcam goes all screwy?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I made that.
That is really impressive. Still, it's probably one of my favorite
Thank
There we go.
you. Oh,
Ah,
wow.
God damn it.
Damn.
Yeah, it's time for a new webcam. Damn you, Nanshiba!
Yeah. I lost my train of thought. Yes. Okay. Yeah, so everything was going pretty well on that. So I'm very proud of that cosplay, but oh my gosh, I definitely ran into some issues. The base dress I bought was definitely too big. So I had to make several alterations. And there's still a couple that I need to eventually make. They're not super pressing though, but I think it still needs a couple nips and tucks. I had to take it in quite a bit. And I've lost like quite a bit of weight since I've worn it last, so I have to take it in again.
Glad your surgery went well, by the way.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Yeah, I said I'm glad to hear that your surgery went well, by the way.
Thank you. I lived, so I consider it a success.
Take that, Satan!
I did it. I did it. Yeah. So there was that. I was dealing with just a shit ton of medical issues last year. So that and like pretty much all of my other cosplays had to be put on the back burner for months at a time, and that was really frustrating because I'm like, I want to work on cosplay, but I don't feel good. Wah. The belt that I made for that costume, it works very well. It holds everything together very well. But it is a little too big on me. And it does definitely hold the weight of one of the panels, and because it is too big on me, sometimes it will slip down. And sometimes it'll come undone just because it is too big. So I need to take that belt in. So that is a project that I need to do. Gosh, I think I definitely ran out of fabric for the panels twice. Yeah, twice, because I underestimated. And normally I'm very good at estimating how much fabric I need. And normally I have a bunch left over. That was not the case for this. My cats destroyed the crown twice. Love them, but good God. I had to take apart the crown 2 different times because of some size issues. I had to repaint it at least 2 different times. I kept running out of flowers, so I spent at least $200 on flowers alone. There are well over 2,000 flowers on that outfit that I all hand attached, and that took a very, very long time. Gosh, what else? the straps on my legs, they work great. But every now and then they'll slip down, so it is definitely something that I got to be aware of. Because they work great on bare skin. But sometimes they'll slide down when I wear my body color tights. So that could definitely get a little bit annoying, but they still work great. Just every couple of hours while I'm at the con, I'll need to go and readjust them. But otherwise, it's like a pretty sturdy cosplay. It holds up very well. I just definitely, the process to getting there and getting it finished was definitely trial by fire. It's not the worst that I've dealt with. But it definitely did get frustrating. And there were times where I was like, am I realistically gonna finish this? I don't know. But then it kind of got to the point where it was like just before Kumo, and I'm like, it's almost done anyways. I might as well just finish it. And then I did. So here we are. Ta-da!
Well, at least, you know, he didn't have a lot of mishaps.
Yeah.
Keyshawn, I mean, I know you didn't really get to do any of the cosplays, but did you have any mishaps at all? Since everyone's sharing.
As far as mishaps go, I wouldn't necessarily call them mishaps, but the things that went wrong in terms of my Daryl cosplay was I bought the wrong pants. I found the right pants in the right, or I found pants in the right color, but they just weren't. Like they were essentially like sweatpants or joggers, and I needed like full length pants, like denim jeans or something. And other than that, I would say not finishing up making like the prop knives that I was trying to make. Because I spent most of my time trying to find the right template file so that I can cut them out of foam, and then time crunching at the very last minute just trying to get those done. It's like, yeah, this ain't happening.
It do be like that sometimes.
It do be like that.
It really do.
Kate, cosplay mishaps or any of your cosplays from last year. Your mic is.
Oh no.
Once again.
Oh no.
Oh no, Emma.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No, still. It was working just fine. You're not on mute.
Doing?
I guess.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh no.
All right, we're gonna put not mute. Nope, not muted.
Not
We'll
muted,
put you on pause until you can get it fixed.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, we can hear you.
There you
There we
go.
go.
You're back. Stupid button.
Yeah, I mean, so
Don't know what
yeah,
that's about.
so 2022 cosplay mishaps or any of your cosplays.
So I won't really call it a cosplay mishap, but I will call it a cosplay inconvenience.
That still
When-
counts.
When I plan to compete at Rose City with my Fallout cosplay, it's early September. The weather's really unpredictable. And unfortunately, that weekend we were looking at weather in the high 90s to early 100s with air quality alerts due to local wildfires. So, of course, I'm wearing a Fallout cosplay. I'm neck to ankles in a full body suit with multiple pieces of armor and props and a full leather harness and a wig and a scarf. So it was less than ideal. So I left really, really early to get to the convention space. So hopefully I could soak up some of the AC. But in a way, it was also really perfect because the air was really cloudy and the sky was yellow. So for anybody that knows the Fallout universe, it was kind of like every day in the Commonwealth.
Is this the cosplay right here?
Wait, let me see. Yep, that would be it. That's the one.
Nice. I
Yeah, so yeah, it was kind of just like a regular day in the Commonwealth. And I made it through wearing that cosplay for almost 14 hours. And even though I was sweaty and gross by the end of it, I wouldn't change it for anything.
nice. Well, it seemed we're a train of thoughts. I lost them already. So that was the only so that was the only mishap or
Uh,
minor inconvenience, as they call it.
Yeah, really, like SakuraCon's inconvenience was I took 7 cosplays and was constantly doing quick changes, and all my other events were really well planned out and full of adventures and fun. And really, that was the only mishap, is that was a really hot day with poor air quality, and I was not dressed for it. But I had a great
Oof.
time.
Yeah, poor air quality, whether it's in or out of the con, is never fun.
Yeah.
Rihanna, same question. Cosplay mishaps or inconveniences for 2022.
You know what's a major inconvenience, and I don't want to get vilified for this, is little kids coming up to you, and you're in a costume that is like from an adult game, and they say they like it. Like, no.
Oh,
don't worry, you'll like it when you're old enough.
In
Like-
15 years, when you look back, you're going to be like, wow.
I mean,
Like- I was cosplaying as Junko in a Shiva from Danganronpa, and like this little girl comes up to me and she's like, "I like your Junko," and I'm just like,
Why
"Where's
do you
your
know
mother?"
this?
Yeah,
where is
You
your
know.
to quote the old Vine thing? Where is your mother?
I know. Where's your mother? And also another inconvenience was like those like, okay, so in Sailor Moon they wear the Sailor Scouts wear these tiaras. Fucking hate those.
All right, you have your one F word.
Okay, hate those with a fiery passion, because they clamp onto your brain. Not, they just clamp on, and like you have to suffer, and then it's just, and then because you have pressure points right here, like by your temples and stuff like that, and like they're clamping onto it, so like I try to avoid that, but like they're so small that it's impossible for it to not clamp on it. So I try to avoid that, but like I was just like, I had to take the thing off. I even though it looked weird as like without it, I just like I had to take it off. I couldn't deal with it.
Hey, your comfortability is more important than, being in the cosplay itself. If you're not feeling
Oh,
well, whether it's your feet, your head, whatever, best advice I'm sure anyone can say here is if you're not feeling well in your cosplay, go back to your hotel or go back to your house and change it to some comfortable clothes, because your comfortability is more important than trying to, cosplay whoever.
Right. And so you have like pressure points right here, and then like in the back of your head you have like these like little lymph nodes, and you don't want to have any pressure on it. So that's why sometimes people get like really sick or like really dizzy. So like that's why you want to avoid for putting on your wig cap in any of your wigs.
Oh yeah.
Just advice.
Oh yeah, no, that's no, that didn't last long. Bob, finally up to you. Any cosplay mishaps you had for last year?
Well, first I want to say I have not touched Wayne's webcam at all.
No, again, this webcam is not wanting to work for Zoom anymore. I'm gonna have to get a new one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get one later this year.
But for some reason, of all of the cosplay mishaps I have had since I started, only one has taken place above the knees. everything else has had something or other to do with my footwear. And it goes back to when I was Dr. Midnight at SummerCon in 21. And those boots are just horrible. I couldn't tie them all the way closed or zip them all the way closed around my calf. But at the same time, they were way too big on my feet, even with the lifts that I used to stretch out size 11s. So I ended up walking around all day with a pair of boots that were basically like bells with my feet as clappers. And, you know, at a convention, typically I put in about 5 to 5.5 miles of walking. So I was doing that on that one. I don't remember what happened at Rose City that year, but then it comes around. I already told you about what happened at C3 GameCon. Then at NorwestCon, somehow I popped a button on one of the spats for the Sixth Doctor. And it was completely lost. I contacted the vendor who had sold them to me, and she was very nice and just sent me a set of 6 buttons that I could sew back on. But at the time they got here, I couldn't find the spat with the missing button.
Oh.
And then at SummerCon, I had the Darkwing Duck costume, and the boots. Like I said, I use lifts to make a size 11 fit my size 10.5 wide feet, and for short term, that was fine. By the time I got there, I realized that I didn't have any support where my arches were, and so my feet got to really hurting at that point. And so that was the mishap for that one. Then Rose City, I was wearing the Sixth Doctor again. And by the way, Sylvester McCoy was there and he loved it. He went to his panel and it was the second one with the question. He goes, "Colin, what are you doing here?" I says, "Well, I came to see you, of course." But anyway, I decided I couldn't find the spats. I'm just going to go ahead and do it without the spats. I'm getting the photo at triple click. It's not going to be a big deal because that only goes about from the hips up, and nobody's going to really pay attention to whether I'm wearing orange spats or not. And I went, it was fine. But then the next week I was in Portland again to pick up my dentures, and to stop and wait for the train, and I put my hands in my pockets, and over in the left is something kind of leathery. Guess what?
There's your
There's a
spats.
spat with a missing button that was missing that I couldn't find to repair. So I let out a little word of profanity, and I got it home and I put the button on, and now the spats are stuffed inside the shoes, so they're in the same place all the time. Somehow I managed to dodge the footwear curse bullet at Emerald City, but we're going to see how this year goes, because I do get the feeling somehow that somehow the cosplay gods have decided to curse my feet.
They were fun. Now on to probably this is probably my all-time favorite question, and those who have been a guest on here for other panels, and we're gonna start with Kate first, since she's new to this. Any cosplay horror stories you'd like to share while getting your cosplay ready, or while you're at a con with your cosplay?
Oh, Lordy. Yes. The first time I ever competed at SakuraCon, which would have been 2-3 years ago, minus the pandemic, I was competing as Ash from Final Fantasy 12.
Ooh, Princess Ash. Nice.
Yeah. She's a big favorite of mine.
Haven't finished the game, but
Ah,
I'm not gonna get into the demon wall.
the demon.
If you know, you know.
You know, you know.
If-
But yeah, I was on my way to prejudging and it was raining outside. And if any of you have been to the Washington Convention Center, you know that trying to go up into the park area, there can be a lot of stairs. And
Yep, Jay's nodding.
yep, yep.
That's
And
awful.
yeah, and unfortunately, I was roaming solo. I was by myself. I didn't have a handler at the time. And for some reason, you know, the Square designers decided that that cosplay was like gravity-wise very logical and sound, and someone would totally run around the desert dressed like that. But for some reason, with a concrete staircase and a rainstorm, I just couldn't make it, and I biffed it real, real hard, and I got wet and parts of my cosplay broke, and I made it on time to prejudging, but
For anyone who wants to know what Princess
Yep.
Ash looks like, that
Yep,
is
that one
not
right there.
a. I mean, her boots and just yeah.
I don't know why I love that cosplay so much. It's such a nightmare to wear.
I mean, she's probably one of my favorite characters, but yeah, I can't imagine, or even wearing her wedding dress
I-
that she wears in the beginning.
None of her outfits are reasonable, and I have made her original outfit 2 times now, and I'm gonna make it a third because the third time I'm gonna get it right. But yeah, I was on my way to prejudging. I biffed it hard. I got wet. I got dirty.
Her wedding dress, for anyone who wants to.
Yeah, because that's how people get married.
That's a lot. It's Final. I mean, it's Final Fantasy. Name a character in any Final Fantasy game that dresses normal. Well, except for the NPC characters. Oh, and Sid from 7.
Yeah. Not practical clothes, unpractical elements, trying to go to prejudging. I made it on time, but I was soaking wet and falling apart by the time I got there. And the judges said they actually didn't notice anything wrong, but I was literally holding pieces onto my body because the bindings had snapped, things had become unglued. It was just a perfect nightmare. And needless to say, I did not do well at the contest that year, but that just showed me the imperfections that I had in the design. And I'm hoping that maybe in the next couple of years I can remake it and make something really good happen with her, because she's my girl and I will ride that cosplay until I make it to the absolute perfect ability as possible.
Hey, it's actually, I even saw that on your Instagram, and it's a really well made cosplay. I mean, Final Fantasy character, and I know Jay can attest to that. Making a Final Fantasy character cosplay is not easy.
No, it's not. You know it's
Keyshawn, any cosplay horror stories you like to share from 2022, or just in general, since yeah.
As far as this year, I don't necessarily remember any horror stories that I can think of. Like, I know the stigma is that each year, you know, something happens at a convention, you know, someone gets into a fist fight or someone gets injured or whatnot, but yeah, and thinking about that now, when you mentioned in general, I think we discovered or discussed this back on my first cosplayer episode when we were talking about AkiCon.
Oh yeah, I've heard many great deals about that.
HockeyCon is the actual worst.
I keep hearing that.
Only because it's
I have
true.
many a tale about
Only 'cause
HockeyCon.
it's true.
We won't go too much into AkiCon.
That is true.
That's
and I'm
for
not going
another
into it
day.
either.
To quote Tommy Lee Jones from The Men in Black, I'm just a figment of your imagination.
Yeah, fair enough.
Oh God.
We can all start singing "We Don't Talk About Bruno."
Oh, that too.
Mm.
Or to quote.
HockeyCon is one of those uncomfortable parts of like convention and cosplay history where nobody likes to talk about it, but it's important to acknowledge it
Oh yeah.
so that we can learn from our mistakes.
Oh yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
for another day.
Oh, yeah. Another day. Kat, any cosplay horror stories from last year you like to share?
I think I shared the Nazi one in
Yeah,
the last podcast.
yeah. Oh, I mean, yeah, you did, but that was a convention one. Any cosplay horror stories yourself you'd like to share?
Oh gosh. I'm trying to think if there's any. Mostly people just being weird in my DMs, but that's kind of the norm.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm kind of used to it, but also every time I'm like, why?
Cool,
Out
because
of
people,
all the things you could do today, you woke up and you chose this.
because people have
Okay.
nothing, because people have nothing better to do in their lives, apparently.
Yeah, I'm like, it's okay to keep some thoughts in your head. I don't need to know this. Like there was one guy that messaged me this one thing. I don't really want to like publicly call him out.
No, we don't do that on here.
Yeah, no. But literally I just responded back. I literally said, I have no idea how to respond to this. And he left me alone after that. But I just was like, my guy,
Oh, that's good.
that's
There-
not how you talk to girls.
Or just anyone in
I-
general.
What? I don't know what you're expecting out of this interaction.
Or just anyone in
Leave me
general.
alone.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that's probably the worst that I can think of off the top of my head at this point in time. Yeah.
Oh, wait. Okay, the layout changed. Did someone leave? Oh, I think Sean.
Oh, I think he did. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Ah, kitty!
A baby.
So we saw your
I would like
cat.
to see the baby.
Can you show us your? I would like to see the baby. Well, okay. Before we move on, what is your cat's name?
So I have two. This is just one of them. This is Mia, and the other one's name is Zaki. They are almost 6-month-old Maine Coon sisters.
Miyazaki, like Hayao Miyazaki.
Precisely. Yeah.
Nice.
And
We
makers.
like having people show their cats and pets on this channel.
Yeah.
It's not cosplay con talk if we don't see or hear a cat, dog, or baby.
Or just I mean every gaming with friends, geeking out. Oh, look at Taylor, he's so fluffy.
They're Maine Coons.
Oh
They're
no,
pretty
I used to
fluffy.
I used to have a Maine. I guess Keyshawn will be back soon, I guess. Moving on. Jay, any cosplay horror stories from 2022?
Not from 2022.
Or just in I know I said in general, but just any random ones, I guess, since I'm kind of like staying the hell with it with the 2022 part.
Yeah, well, yeah. So like in previous years, quite a few pretty bad ones actually. The very first convention I went to, which was again SakuraCon 2012, I had my first one. So I was like, of course, right? I was Squall from Final Fantasy VIII, which is got to join that Final Fantasy group stuff, right? And so he has a white shirt, like just the whitest, brightest shirt I could find, and I spilled Coke all over it.
Oh no!
Yeah, luckily I had like 7 of them, so we just went to the garage and changed.
I was gonna make a joke if you said you had 8.
Yeah, that would have been funny, but no, we tried to make that joke too.
Damn.
But I was like, nope, I got 7. So that joke did happen. But that was the first time that I had a problem. Speaking of AkiCon, like earlier, I don't want to bring them up again, but this happened at AkiCon. During, if anyone remembers 2012, they had the Garage Con, basically.
I've heard stories and I've seen pictures of that.
Yeah, so in the garage, they got kicked out of the hotel, by the way. So in that, they got kicked out for that. They put all the dealers and artist alleys in the garage, which was leaking.
Oh yeah,
and tons of people's stuff got destroyed and everything.
There was mold.
Yeah, there was a ton of mold. There was actually black mold there too.
I remember Keyshawn Keyshawn was telling me about that too. How AkiCon was like Yeah, no, all you vendors are going to be in like the worst place imaginable.
Oh yeah, yeah. And
You
then
guys-
like the
What was that?
2013.
Yeah, I'm
happened?
sorry, I'm phoning it in.
You're back. But yeah, so 2013 they got kicked out of another hotel, and then 2014 and 15 they went to the one in SeaTac. And I almost got in a fight with the twins that were running it before. Yeah, no, I hate them so much. But in 2013, I think it was, no, 2012, AkiCon, I was going to be cosplaying Marluxia from Kingdom Hearts, and I had bought the boots online, and they split down the middle when I put them on. I hadn't, like, I should have tried them beforehand, and I didn't, and I don't know why. And when I started walking in them to like from the room to the elevator, the seam that goes like right on your foot, on the top of your foot, that just split right open. So that sucked. I had to go back and take that off. And then the worst one actually was 2021 in KomoriCon. I don't know who was here that was there that would have saw us, but we had an Inuyasha group. We're just I was the Shomaru with an Inuyasha and a Sango, and we had like hundreds of pictures taken. We were stopped every 2 seconds. But my Shomaru, yeah, you probably saw me then, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had both the swords. I had one in my hand. We had the claws. We like put nails. Yeah, that was us. And then our Sango had a giant pillow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that costume just did not stay on at all. We had to go to the repair room like 4 times. The armor kept falling off, like just straight up falling off of me. And in order to get the costume off, there was ties that tied the costume together, and my friend knotted them. We couldn't get them off, so I had to rip it off. I had to literally rip the costume off of me. And KomoriCon 2017, the only other one that was nearly as bad, and the only other one that really happened, I was Fireflower Princess Peach, and I made the dress too small, and I couldn't pull it back up over me. So my friend had to literally rip it, like, up into pieces to help me get it off.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's about it for me, though.
Iro, any 2022 or just in general cosplay horror stories?
I went to KupoCon in Canada for when me and my husband went to it in November of 2021, I think. I forgot, but either way, it was early, and so I should try on my costumes before I wear them out. I've determined. So yeah, like people say, test your cosplays before you wear them. Well, my dress decided to tear on me part of the way, not badly, but enough to where I can notice it throughout the day. And mind you, I am at a Final Fantasy convention. Everyone's got one now. Oops. And I was the wedding dress Yuna.
That's an interest. And with that, if anyone wants to see that, along with Jay's, there's Shomaru's and Marluxia, and Squall, I believe, is also mentioned. Same with Shiri's Yuna dress from yeah. Continue, sorry.
And all I can say is I'm like, those 200 feathers, they did stay on. They did look good. However, I could feel parts of it on the side were tearing, and they're still torn right now, and I have to fix that dress. And I don't know what I want to do to it. Because that is like one of my fanciest cosplays. Because I was like debating, oh, I should make the staff, I shouldn't make the staff, that kind of thing. And no, people love that costume, and it was really fun to wear. But oh my god, I have to fix it so much to the point where I'm like, I might not be able to wear this for an event for like a year, I've told myself now. Because I'm so busy with other projects. And I love that. I loved it because it was the first time I used foam and feathers and all these things. Like I have over 200 something feathers on it. And I love that costume. I taught myself new techniques of Fabri-Tac and other sewing things, but it's like secondhand thrifted mixed with homemade, you know? So it's not exactly the hardest to fit. It's not exactly the easiest to fix. And I'm just like, well, shit. Either I remake it or I just cut the back. I don't know anymore.
Oof, yeah, that's never fun.
And it doesn't have pockets. So I'm just like, well, crap. I need to actually fix that one day. But until then, I gotta wait.
Never fun.
All right, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
Yes.
you now. Now we just got 3 more to go, 3 more to share before we talk about everyone's 2023 cosplays that they're going to be doing. Consoles. As you know, I basically said to hell with just 2022 cosplay horror stories in general. 2022 cosplay horror stories in general. I mean, not 2022, just any in general you want to share.
Well, for 2022, I actually thought of something that happened at Hallmat. It was kind of a minor thing, but for my Rikeel cosplay, I had some pretty big heels, pretty chunky heels, but the sole completely broke off. Luckily it was towards the end of the night, and I had some double-sided tape, so I kind of like temporarily taped the heel back on the sole of the shoe back onto the bottom, and I was able to like walk back to my hotel and get out of that costume. So that was kind of the only thing really bad that happened this year. In general, I have so many stories. It's kind of ridiculous. Like I said, 2022 is very good to me. There was this time that I without me knowing, I had no idea, but I accidentally went to a 18 plus only convention and I was 14 at the time.
Ooh.
I thought it was an all ages con. That con no longer
no.
exists.
Uh-oh.
So I went 2 years in a row not knowing it was an 18 plus con. So that was yeah, and I was 13 and 14. So that happened. If we plan on doing cosplay horror stories, cosplay con talk, I will expand on that, but that's the short version of that story.
Yeah, well, we'll dive deeper into that one come October.
Yeah, another really bad one was when I lost over like $5,000 doing a group photo shoot that nobody actually really participated in. I put like my heart and soul and my wallet into this photo shoot, and half the people showed up drunk, half the people showed up high, and everyone showed up late. It was bad. So that was the short story of that one too. That's another very, very long story. But yeah, that was.
I would be so mad. Oh my God.
Yeah, I am a little salty about it, but it
You
happened.
have every right to be.
I've learned from it. But yeah, I provided all of the accessories for the outfits. The photographer, I made about half the costumes. I basically set up everything to where half the wigs were mine. I set up everything to where they just literally had to show up. And that was it. Yeah, and it was bad. It was bad.
About a nightmare. Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Those are probably my 2 big ones, but I have a bunch of them. But we can all that's for another day.
Oh yeah, no. And to make this quick, we're gonna have make it real quick for Bob, and because we gotta wrap this up soon. Bob, any quick cosplay horror stories you'd like to share?
Nothing from 2022. I can do some quick versions of a couple of earlier ones, and I can go into them in detail when we go to an episode devoted to that. One has to do with the cloak from my Shadow cosplay. It's an Inverness cloak. I used a pattern from Reconstructing History, and I cannot recommend strongly enough avoiding them. I'm not the only sewer who has had troubles with making stuff from them. Following the instructions verbatim, I broke my first sewing machine and had to buy a replacement. for fortunately it was an inexpensive one. It's an inexpensive one. It's $150, but it's it caused so much stress and everything else that I just will not do with that anymore. The other it can anytime somebody mentions stretch velour, I get the theme from Jaws going in my brain. I spent like 2.5 years working on the hood for my Captain Klutz cosplay. The the hat / mask over the top, and you can flash that picture up at this point in the show. But I tried, it would get tangled in the sewing machine. I'd have to rip it out. It would not sew up straight. One time I actually managed to make a completely straight and perfect seam with it, and it was backwards. I finally gave it up. Contacted a company called spandexwear.com, who I absolutely adore. He'd already made the hood for my Dr. Midnight costume. I said, "Can you do this thing for me?" It got all the measurements right, and I love the work that he did. I gave the remainder of the stretch velour away to the Iron Costumer contest at last year's Rose City, and the substance is no longer welcome in my home.
Fair enough. Rihanna, real quick, any cosplay horror stories you'd like to share?
There was a Bayonetta cosplayer that was 16.
That is too young to cosplay. I'm
Good
sorry.
segue.
Hey! We finally get to see Keyshawn's face.
Yeah, there was a
Not in the
16-year-old,
still picture.
Yeah.
Not like me, where my webcam is,
and I didn't want to like go up to her and say, "Hey, you can't cosplay that," but she needs to know that it was not, it's not okay. It made me very uncomfortable because she Bayonetta is like a very sexual character, and I was just like,
Vulgar.
and vulgar. She's a vulgar and sexual character, and I was just like, "Where's your mother?"
Seriously, if you're under the age of 18 and you're cosplaying a character from yeah.
I was just like worried for her, I wasn't like, but I was also uncomfortable. Also like little kids coming up to me, asking me for a picture while I was in JUCO. Like clearly I'm from an adult media, and they're like, little kids come up to you and be like, "Oh, hey, can I take a picture?" And you're like, "Where's your mother?" There was I mean, like, that's really much about it. It's just like really about kids. My horror stories are with kids. But yeah.
It's weird. They're either like the sweetest baby angels or they're absolute demons. There's no in between.
Seriously. I agree with Kat on that, but I was just like, I couldn't like tell them like, "Can you please go away?" I was in so much shock, that happened. Because usually I'm really protective of kids, and I usually, I would say something, but it's just like the initial shock was just like, "Where's your mother?"
Right.
Yeah.
No, I totally get that. Is totally valid. That's
Yeah. But yeah, that's my horror stories, like that's it. Like nothing new.
But real quick though, I have to ask, were they cosplaying as Bayonetta from Bayonetta 1 or Bayonetta 2?
or 3.
Bayonetta 1, I think. Yeah, Bayonetta 1.
Yeah,
Okay, then yeah, that definitely raises some red flags.
if you've ever seen her play the game, her suit has a revealing back. Before I go further on, and I'm sure everyone can agree, if you were a cosplayer underage, I mean, I really can't say anything because when I was that age, I was playing like games like Halo, Blood Rain, God of War, but you wouldn't see me cosplay as, I would cosplay something suitable for my age, or you should cosplay something suitable for your age, because it makes me wonder, well, if you're do the parents say okay? Do the parent know? Like,
Mhm.
I'm sure
I
you okay.
I feel
I
like this would be good to do like
Oh
like
yeah,
a
no.
whole panel on
Oh yeah,
maybe.
cosplay do's and don'ts. I'm definitely going to be doing another
Mm.
cosplay, kind of a part 2 of a cosplay safety and awareness thing.
Yeah, maybe
Um,
we do an episode specifically like on this topic.
oh yeah,
I don't
no.
know. I've always been old, so I don't know.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean,
I
don't
I
look that
got
old.
into the hobby fairly young, and I have a lot of experience surrounding this, so I can definitely
me
provide some
too.
insight.
And me too, but like that's why I say cosplay with discretion,
Yeah.
because like yes, cosplay is for everyone, but like there's characters that you just need to like
Mm-hmm.
chill. Like there's characters that you need to wait for.
Oh, I
Yes,
agree.
and I think a lot of kids they're very quick to say that adults are gatekeeping, and like that's
We're not
never the
gatekeeping,
intention.
we're
A lot
looking
of us are saying this
we're looking after your
because we
safety.
don't want you to get groomed, because a lot of us made that mistake when we were kids and we ended up in very uncomfortable situations. So we're trying to protect you. And at the end of the day, we know you're going to do what you're going to do, but we are it comes from a good place. We are trying to advise you and keep you safe.
No, wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
It's like listen to your elders, kids, because we're the generation that didn't do the Tide Pod challenge.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no. That again,
Yeah, we do mean well, and we
there
care about
are
you, and we just don't want you to repeat our mistakes.
no, and we'll go further into that later down the road. I want to talk about everyone's favorite cosplay for 2020 2022. What was your out of all the cosplays you did, what was your favorite one, starting with Rihanna? What was your one favorite cosplay for 2022?
Yor from Spy Family, because I got engaged because like my fiance was Lloyd, so we got engaged. So like I like my Yor cosplay. So I made her wig and everything, and so yeah, like I'm sorry, but like that one is the most is so I'm so biased. Like it's just my favorite one.
Well, right. And then, there's nothing wrong with having that being your all-time favorite.
Yeah,
Nice. Kate, what was your all-time favorite 2022 cosplay?
So this one kind of flew under the radar. I didn't really get to talk about it much when I talked about 2022, but my favorite cosplay was for main game cosplay chess at SakuraCon. I got to be Macrophage from Cells at Work, and the theme of the game was heroes versus villains, and I got to be on the heroes side, and I thought that was really special because we were coming out of the pandemic, and I know how important macrophages can be in preventing illness and bacterial infections and fighting off viruses. So I thought that that was really appropriate for fighting off coronavirus. And
Nice.
my battle that I got to triumph in was super, super important because macrophages are known for having super brutal, like almost barbarian like weapons that they do battle with. So I had this huge, massive cleaver that I fought off my opponent with. And as soon as they went down, I made my weapon in a way that I could pull off whatever the cleaver blade like portion of it was. And my weapon turned into a broom because macrophages are known for being mages. And as soon as my opponent was down, I did the weapon transformation and I literally swept them off the board to get them to leave. So that was like my trifecta of screw the coronavirus, And I love cosplay chess, and here's something that's going to make the crowd go wild. So that was a peak moment for me. Even with all of the competition I did, like that was a major, like really good cosplay moment for me.
Nice. Keyshawn, what would have been your favorite cosplay had you been able to cosplay this year?
I mean, I gotta say Daryl, because I put a lot of effort into trying to get everything, like, just get everything ready. Like, I bought the poncho, I bought a shirt that was close, and I had some boots that weren't exactly the right type of boots that he wears, but were like color coordinated. So like the dark brown and black. And I even went into making the props, like his knives. Had I had put more effort into that and actually finished making them on time, then maybe I probably would have enjoyed cosplaying as Daryl more. And I also wanted to like do the crossbow, like use like have his crossbow, but the cons are very nitpicky about what you can bring and what qualifies as a con safe like prop.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, with
that's
projectiles especially.
yeah, that's why I opted to go with the knives, because I know in one of the fight scenes in The Walking Dead, he actually like goes knife to knife with somebody. I forget who or what.
Yeah, I can't
So yeah,
remember.
but yeah, that was pretty much my go-to.
Nice. Well, hopefully get to see it eventually.
Same.
Kat, what was your all-time favorite 2020 two cosplay?
I'm sorry, what was the question again?
What was your all-time favorite 2022 cosplay?
Oh God. Honestly, I was really happy with my Hannah Alexander Persephone. You know, it was really just a big labor of love. You know, despite like all of the all of the mishaps, I had a really, really good time working on her. It was a lot of fun. Um, yeah, it just was really creatively fulfilling, and I've wanted to do a Hannah Alexander design for so long. I've been following her work for years, and I just never felt like I was really ready to tackle anything, or I just never felt like I had enough skills before. And that design just really leaped out at me. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna try this. And just kind of all the chips fell into place for me to make this a reality. And I did. And I'm very happy with how it turned out. There are a couple things that I do plan on adjusting. Um, but overall, I'm really happy with how it came out, and I felt so beautiful, and I haven't felt that good in a costume in a really, really long time. Um, yeah, and I just was surprised that it got like, I guess, as good of a reception as it did. I guess I wasn't expecting that. So that was very nice. And I just it was very, very fun, and I had a very good time, and I can't wait to wear her again and just feel very good about myself. And I do plan on doing a photo shoot in the spring, with a very good friend of mine, where I'm gonna do this version, and my friend is gonna do the Dread Queen version. And so we're kind of
Ooh,
gonna do like a light and a dark theme, and it's gonna be super fun, and I can't wait. Um,
very nice.
yeah. So I'm very happy with that costume.
Well, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
Nice. Eero, same question. What was your all-time favorite 2022 cosplay?
My favorite so far is Eddie, only because once I got the hyper fascination and fixation on it, I was like, no, I need to do this cosplay. So first it started simple, then I'm working on details, and by the time I think near end of the year, people were loving it. They're like all the kids around me, all like the 12-year-olds were like, Chrissy, wake up. And they were telling me all these
I
cute
don't
things.
like this.
Yeah, like, oh my god, this was like since the last time I got praised like that was in Frothy, and that was at SummerCon. And people were messaging me after that, like saying, "You looked amazing." And then now when I do Eddie, it's like people are actively going up to me like, "You look cool," and all that stuff. And now I work on props for my friends for Eddie cosplays, and I'm working on Cass Eddie, and I have a Chrissy cosplay. Like I started off with the whole bloody look, and now I'm like, I'm gonna try and go a little nicer about it. But I'm doing Cassidy next, and now that I don't have my braces, I can do fangs, I can do wings, I can do anything. And hopefully I get to meet Joseph Quinn in my Chrissy cosplay in Dallas, because that man inspired me to actually do a ton of different things, like with my costumes.
Nice. So we're gonna be wrapping this up real quick. We'll be saving the 2020. I'll be taking out the 2023 lineups that you guys will be doing, because I'm actually gonna get tired myself here. So we're gonna finish this up with Jay and Console talking about their 2020 favorite 2022 cosplays. So oh, and Bob, sorry. We gotta wrap this up because I'm getting tired and it's getting late and I need to charge my phone here soon. So Jay, what was your favorite 2022 cosplay?
So probably my Advent Children Cloud, because of the whole 10-year thing. So yeah, that, I guess.
Nice. Yeah, sorry guys, I don't mean to wrap this up, but I'm like, it's getting late. I'm getting tired and
Oh yeah.
I can't function right now.
No worries.
That's why I
you're
was trying to
totally
go.
fine.
That's why I was trying to go fast there.
Console, real quick, favorite 2022 cosplay.
Mine would probably be Mista from JoJo's. He's low-key a comfort cosplay of mine now. He's just super fun to pose at. I love doing his makeup. His outfit is super comfortable. I love his prop that I have for him. And 2023, I'm going to make a whole bunch of unnecessary upgrades for him. So, yeah.
Nice. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing that. And last but not least, before we end this, Bob, what was your all-time favorite cosplay for 2022?
I have been glancing over and looking at my closet where I have almost all of my cosplays hanging up, and I've changed my mind about 3 or 4 times since you asked the question, but in the end, I think I'll go with the Doctor,
Nice.
the 6th Doctor.
Oh, well, yeah, this went on for almost almost 3 hours. Wow.
Ooh.
No, this is recorded just 2 hours. Just went past 2 hours.
Roughly. All right. So real quick, so something that's new started. We'll start with Kate first because I know they need to go. And like I said, I'm getting tired here myself. So Kate, real quick, would you like to promote yourself by dropping those links below so people can find you? You're on mute.
Did you push the button again?
No, it says she's on
no.
mute.
It's on mute.
We still can't hear you,
Why are
Kate.
there so many buttons to mute someone? That's just not even
Yeah,
fair.
that's why I just have a regular. Actually, I'm gonna see if I can't show my face at least before my. Okay, so yeah, real quick, would you like to promote yourself by dropping those links below so people can find you?
Yes, please follow me on Instagram at Red Leaf Cosplay, and you can also find me on Facebook under Red Leaf Cosplay.
Links to those will be in the description below. Keyshawn, real quick, would you like to drop those links below so people can find you?
I also have Instagram. It's not a lot, but I mean it's there. So it's mocha.est.1993.
Links to those will be in the description below. Kat, real fast, would you like to drop your links below so people can find you?
Absolutely. You can find me on
Alright.
Instagram at Cat Valentine Cosplay. And you can also find me on TikTok at the exact same thing. And you can find me on Twitter at Cat Valentine Cos.
Links to those will be in the description below. Next, real quick, Iro, would you like to drop those links below so people can find you?
I'm Arrow Senpai on Instagram and on Twitter, and also on TikTok. Now I make TikTok transformation videos and requests for people.
Nice. Jay, real quick, would you like to drop those links below so people can find you?
Yeah, okay. So I do YouTube at youtube.com/jcause. Twitter is at J_cause. And Instagram is just jcause. So it's JEICOS.
Not Jay Kazoo. Like
No, because of my Facebook thing, it was a Facebook problem.
Console, real quick, would you like to drop those links below so people can find you?
Yes, all of my socials are console of cosplay, consul.of.cosplay. I'm most active on Instagram. My DMs are always open, and second most active on TikTok. And I'm starting my not starting my YouTube because I've already had one, but I'm going to start creating more YouTube and TikTok content this year. But most active on Instagram.
Very nice. Bob, care to drop those links below so people can find you?
You can find me on Instagram or at Twitter, both handles the same, at Bob Greenwade.
Links to those will be in the description below. And last but not least, Rihanna, would you like to drop those links below so people can find you?
Hi everyone. So you can find me at Miss Artistry on TikTok and on Instagram. It's all one word, Miss Artistry.
And links to everyone's socials will be in the description below. And of course, you can always find me on Instagram, sometimes on Twitter, and sometimes on TikTok, but you can mainly find me and all my stuff on YouTube. I'll get links to those will be in the description below. And I'm least if I can, I'm just gonna show my face real fast here if I can. As always, I'm Wayne the Unknown. Until next time, thank you for listening, and as always, thank you for watching.
Bye.
Thank you,
everyone.
Wayne. Bye.